Hello, everyone. Welcome to Developing Palates. I'm Aaron Loomis, and with me, as always, is June Liu. How you doing, June?
Doing good.
So today we are talking about the Herrera Esteli Miami Corona Extra. Cigar is 5 3/4 by 48 ring gauge. Cigar comes out of the El Titan de Bronze factory in Miami. Wrapper is Ecuadorian Habano Oscuro. The binder is Ecuadorian Sumatra, and the filler is from the Dominican Republic and Nicaragua. Blended by Willie Herrera. Price point is $13, and the cigar was released in August of 2016. So, June, what was your pre-light experience like with this cigar?
Good pre-light experience. I thought the wrapper had a slightly gritty Colorado wrapper shade. Things well pressed, seems tight and visible. Bunch of roll, well done. Pretty firm give throughout, but I didn't feel any hardness, especially on the head. So I thought, it should be all good. Head finish off with a thick double cap. Onto the nosy experience. Wrapper, I got Barnyard metal.
Yeah.
And Sweet Cedar. The metal was kind of funky, man.
Right.
It was almost like it wasn't like an ammonia kind of metal, but it was definitely metal.
Mm.
But maybe it was because of my fingers. Who knows? Anyways, and then on the foot, sharp cedar, mixed dried nuts, cold draw. Mainly got some hay and dried nuts to it.
Yeah, the wrapper was dark brown, had a little bit of a reddish hue to it. There were a few medium-sized raised veins, and the seams are easily visible just due to the color variation on the wrapper. The head is finished with a well-applied triple cap. Two bands. The first is the standard Herrera Esteli design, but with the red background, white lettering, and gold borders. The second band carries that Miami designation on it. The aroma from the wrapper was like a mild manure with a little light tobacco sweetness from the foot. And the pre-light draw was pretty interesting. It was like a fresh cut lumber, what I got. So I don't typically get that in cigars, but I thought that was interesting. So flavor-wise, first third through final third, what was your experience like?
Um, First thirst flavors mainly consisted of mixed dried nuts, dried red pepper, primarily on the tip of the tongue. I got some floral notes coming through in aged oak, retrohale, deeper notes of that red pepper, followed by cream nuttiness and sharp oak. Finish soft and lingering with notes of dry red pepper on the tongue and on the rear palate and stale oak. Body and strength at the medium mark. Moving on to the second third. The second third is more oak and mixed nuts focused. Nuttiness is really well paired with like a cream body to it. Spice of the dry red pepper is more of like a secondary note, and I didn't get any more of that floral note that I got from the first third. Retro, still the same thing. Deeper dry red pepper, cream nuttiness, sharp oak. Finishes complexities, I thought it died down a little, mainly giving me stale oak and dry nuts. Body remains at the medium mark, while strength, it kind of teetered between like that medium full mark. Moving on to the last third. Last third, I mean, it's kind of took a dive for the worse, dominantly oak focused, with a touch of cream nuts and intermittent cream coffee coming through. Halfway through the last third, I got this off-putting stale bitterness to it. So it's like this like stale bitterness that's mixed with hay and like a really dry grass.
Mhm.
Retro maintains this intense dry red pepper and the sharp oak, but loses out on the cream nuts. Finish is now mainly comprised of just stale oak. Body remains unchanged at medium, and strength still in between that medium full range.
Yeah, initial draws for me brought cedar cream and a spice that wasn't quite cinnamon. But a quarter inch in, the spice goes away and the cedar transitions to just like the lightest of a general wood note. But the cream remained at the level it had. Retro Hill kind of had a slightly fuller general wood note, along with a matching level of cream to it. And then at 3/4 of an inch in, the wood gains a slight bit of toastiness to go along with that creaminess. And then an inch in, that toast goes away and some nuttiness joined in to mix with the creamy wood. And then an inch and a quarter, the nuttiness kind of went away and the profile returned to just the creamy wood note. And then as the third came to a close, the profile gained a little bit of sweetness, which was like a nice enhancement to the creamy wood. The strength was just like at a mild medium level. In the second third, the sweetness lessened a little bit and the creamy wood was still up front. And at a quarter inch in, that sweetness went away and some nuttiness returned while the creaminess increased and the wood kind of held its level. At 3/4 of an inch in, nuttiness went away. Cream dropped back to its previous level. with a little bit of wood bitterness kind of joined in with the wood. And then an inch and a half, that retrohale was primarily wood with a slight creaminess in the background. And as the third came to a close, the cream had decreased some more, and the wood, along with some bitterness, was what was up front. And the strength was just below medium there. And getting in the final third, the wood and the bitterness kind of remained up front with some creaminess in the background. And then at half an inch in, the cream increased to become even with the wood, with still a little bit of that bitterness in the background. And then an inch in, the bitterness increases, which kind of pushed the cream back and left the wood note up front. And then as the cigar was finishing out, that bitterness, the wood remained up front, the bitter wood remained up front, and the cream was in the background. Retro was primarily wood with a little bit of cream to it, and the strength had just gone up to be right at the medium level. So performance-wise, what was the experience like?
Amazing for both. Nothing but the highest remarks. Total smoking time, impressive 2 hour and 42 minutes. Burn line, razor sharp with solid inch and a half ash marks. I never had to resort to my lighter. In terms of draw, perfect draw. Just amount of resistance to the draw and to pull in all the flavors. So excellent.
Yeah, the burn was slightly wavy at times and then razor sharp at others. First ash dropped at the 2 inch mark, and then they kind of lasted in 3/4 inch increments the rest of the way. And then draw for me, same as you, it was just perfect, just the right amount of resistance that I prefer. So nothing bad to say about that. So overall, what were your thoughts?
Overall, I'm a little disappointed by this latest rendition of Willie's limited edition. So when I'm benchmarking against his other limited editions, like that Norteño and that original Herrera Esteli, I feel like this one fell short of those.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't taste, when I going into the cigar, knowing Willie's blending capabilities of how typically he's so good at hitting notes and the balance of notes, I expected that, and I didn't get that. By no means am I saying that this was a bad cigar. To me, it was more like a run-of-the-mill good cigar.
Mm-hmm.
But is it justified for a limited edition ban? I don't think so. Especially when I was tasting so much of staleness in the cigar. That staleness was just, it was nothing to get excited about.
Right.
But maybe give it another few months or so. Something will change the cigar. Who knows? But at this point, and being pretty well rested since release, it was a standard good tasting cigar.
Yeah, the cigar started out well with some nuanced flavors, and then kind of after that first ash drop, the flavors became much fuller for me, and I think that's just kind of because I let that ash hold on for so long. So I don't know if I smoked it again, if I would like maybe kind of tap off just to see if the fullness kind of came a little bit sooner. I really like the small transitions that the cigar kind of started with, but at the midway point, the flavors really became linear. I think this is another nice addition to the Herrera Esteli line. I'd gladly revisit smoking this, but just like you said, the Herrera Esteli Limitada in 2014 was my #1 cigar of the year. The Norteño limited edition in 2015 was my #1 cigar. So, just like you said, this didn't meet up with the level that those were at. But it was still a good cigar, just not not level of those other ones. Strength was below medium and then up to medium, so it's not going to turn many smokers away. So I think the strength level matches up well. But overall, it was a good cigar. So getting into the scores, I gave it a 6.87. You gave it a 7. I think we scored it identically, except for you were just one rating higher than me on the burn. Otherwise, we were dead on. So how do you think your score matched up with the experience?
Yeah, I mean, in this scenario, I would say for sure the performance of the cigar helped it quite a bit to reach that, was that like 7 mark you said?
Yeah.
So amazing, cream of the crop construction coupled by a just regularly good flavor profile, is warrants a 7 for sure.
Yep. I can't say anything different than you other than, slightly different on the burn line, a little bit wavy, but otherwise that's it. It's fantastic performance, a good flavor profile. So there's not much else to say other than that, I don't think. Any other final thoughts?
Maybe you could give me some clarity on this, but so you within this Herrera Esteli naming convention that he did for this one,
Yeah.
this is Herrera Esteli Miami, right?
Right.
So, maybe I think it would have been more of a clear direction to split off from the Herrera Esteli name.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, even at IPC Para last year, I was like, where's your LE for this year?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, it's right here, jackass. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
No, just a little tidbit. Nothing, not a big deal. I mean, he names it however the hell he wants, but
Yeah, and there's another variation of this that was a store exclusive that was called the Ink Tome. Has the same color combination for the band, which is the red style rather than the white style. And
right.
I've heard lots of people really enjoyed that cigar.
Hmm.
So I'm wondering if that might be. I know that's not the same level because the LE is supposed to be a wider release, but I'd really be interested in checking out that cigar to see if that might be more on that level of how those previous LEs were. But,
Yeah, and on top of that is the TAA release he did. I think uses this band as well as a primary band. So
I think you're right. Yeah.
But,
Well, if you're just catching this on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to us there, but also check out the full written review on the website, developingpalates.com. Follow us on all the social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Google+. And you can catch all of our review recaps on podcast as well. So iTunes, Google Play, and Podbean. Thank you for tuning in, and we will catch you on the next one.